to thank you for coming to support local blues musicians and live music. Thanks most of all to all the acts that registered and will be entertaining us today. Many of you know what the International Blues Challenge is, but in case you don't, CBS is one of 260 blues societies around the world that's an affiliate of the Blues Foundation in Memphis. In January of each year, 175 to 250 acts from all over the world. I mean, Japan blues bands and Italy blues bands, it's just crazy. Won their local IBC challenge. So to go to the IBCs in Memphis, you have to win a local IBC challenge. And they go to Memphis to share their love of the blues and showcase their talent. But more than that, they also network with other musicians, festival promoters, club owners, and fans. As our poster for this event says, this is the road to Memphis, to the IBC on Beale Street in Memphis, Tennessee. Your entrance fee today, I want everyone to know, your entrance fee actually goes to the bands and the solo duos and the youth act that will represent us in Memphis. That money does not go to the Colorado Blues Society. That money goes to help the acts defer costs in Memphis. The acts that register for the IBCs are put in a hat and the names are drawn for the order of performances today. So on your tables, you have the schedule for today. Before each act performs, I will read their submitted bio and introduce them. At that time, their set starts. And each act has 25 minutes. Consistent with the IBCs in Memphis, we'll give notice at 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, and 30 seconds. We have 4 judges today that are heavily involved in the blues community, and so I want to introduce you to our judges. Bob Tiger. Bob Tiger was born in Chicago in 1947. We have some Bob Tiger fans in the house. Growing up in the 50s and 60s, Bob listened to all kinds of music, classical, R&B, doo-wop, rock and roll, etc. He started playing guitar when he was in high school. His brother Dennis, known to those who knew him as an incredibly talented musician, came home from band practice one day and said, "Hey Bob, I told everyone you could play bass." Bob tried it and that was that. In the mid-1960s, Dennis, his brother, and a few of our other friends spent many nights at places in Chicago where it was kind of scary for kids like him to go, but they heard the real players playing the real stuff, Chicago blues. What he heard spoke to us like nothing we had ever heard, and it stuck. Bob has been playing the blues ever since. He came to Boulder in 1968, and in the past 55 years, he's had the great fortune to play and hang out with very talented musicians and really great friends, as well as some pretty well-known folks who were just passing through, and Bob got lucky. Bob was also very lucky to be with a band that opened for Elvin Bishop at Tuolagi one night in 1973, and that's where he met Cynthia. As you know, they go together. Bob says, I can't imagine having made this journey without her, and it's far from over. Good luck to all the contestants today. That's Bob Tiger. Our second judge is Kyle Borthwick. Kyle Borthwick has been involved with the Front Range blues scene for a long, long time. He joined his first blues band as a drummer in August of 1978. Since that time, Kyle has held down the drumming duties for many legendary Colorado blues bands, including David Booker, Captain's Red Hot Blues Band, J.D. Kelly's J.D. and the Love Bandits, and the Creighton Holly Band. Creighton Holly being the amazing blues musician that coveted Members' Choice Holly Award is named after. With these groups or freelancing, Kyle has shared the stage with many blues luminaries, including Rufus Thomas, Bo Diddley, B.B. King, A.C. Reed, and many, many others. Kyle has also participated in the International Blues Challenge with various groups, including his own band, the Movers and the Shakers, who won twice here in Colorado and represented us in Memphis. Kyle continues to remain active in the Colorado blues scene with his own band, King Cake, and freelancing with other groups. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Kyle Borthwick. Jill Cush. Jill is a longtime blues supporter from Fort Collins. Raising a young blues musician, she has had the privilege of attending multiple international blues challenges as a parent of a youth participant as well as being on the Pinetop Perkins Foundation board as the workshop coordinator for the Pinetop Perkins Master's Class in Youth Programming at the IBCs. Jill has also been able to attend many various blues festivals across the country and recently in Norway, all in support of keeping the blues alive. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Jill Cush. And our fourth and final judge is Ron Rosso. Ron opened the Rusty Bucket in June of 2007 while still employed by an engineering company. Less than 1 year after opening, Ron started having live music in the back room. By the second year, Ron booked the bands internally, and this networking has forged many good friends in the Denver music scene. For over 15 years, Ron has booked 125 to 150 days a year of live music and shows and fundraising events. Forming these relationships has proven to be one of the wiser decisions he has made professionally since opening the Rusty Bucket. Originally, live music was only on Friday and Saturday nights with rock and dance bands. Within 3 to 4 years, Ron began booking blues bands more heavily with a passion for the blues that was ignited in the late 1990s, which resulted in more than 50% of the booked shows being blues bands. Then 11 to 12 years ago, Ron started a Wednesday night jam, initially hosted on alternating Wednesdays by Brad Stivers and Al Chessis and the Delta Sonics. Then Eric Boa and the Constrictors hosted for 3 years. When Boa left, Jody Woodward and Scotty Rivera assumed host duties for the Big Blues Jam. Alan Knight joined them as a third host a few years later, and to this day, the Big Blues Jam has earned numerous blues awards in different categories from the Colorado Blues Society. The Rusty Bucket also won Westward's Best of Denver Award in 2021 and 2023 as the Best Blues Club, and has earned a reputation throughout Colorado as a go-to blues venue, attracting blues musicians from other states as well. In 2016, Ron left the corporate job and focused all energies on improving and managing the Rusty Bucket to maintain and better its reputation as a friendly and attractive local place to watch live music and sports and be a classic neighborhood bar. And our food isn't bad either, we're told. So long live the blues at the Rusty Bucket. Ladies and gentlemen, thank Ron for his time today. I'd also like to introduce you to the CBS board members that are here today volunteering for this event. So Scott, who's around here somewhere, Scott is coordinating with all the bands and with the sound team today. That's my handsome husband, Scott Fitzke. Tracy Cervantes, Kim, Lynn, and Grace all greeted you at the door, and they are selling merch if you want to go back and see them doing that. Deborah Stafford is our timekeeper today, and those of you, I hope, that are members get our weekly update. Deborah is also the editor of our weekly update, and I must say she does a fantastic job, and I hope you all think so too. Deborah Stafford. Mark is our vice president in the back there. He's one of our scorekeepers, and Joe is our treasurer. He's one of our scorekeepers. And one thing I want to share with you today, we have 2 computers and we have 2 scorekeepers, and that's for a reason. That's to make sure that we do a quality job, because at the end of the day, all those numbers should match, right? So we've got 2 people keeping score today, and we appreciate that. And I'm your president. I'm Tracy Fitzke. I'm the president of the Colorado Blues Society. So I want to make sure that you know all the way that the Colorado Blues Society communicates with you. So as a member, you receive the Holler, and the Holler is our newsletter publication, and that comes out every other month by our editor, Jack Hadley. So if you're involved in the blues community here, you know Jack Hadley. He gigs a ton around the state. He's a phenomenal musician, and he does a great job with our Holler. I already mentioned our weekly update editor, Deborah Stafford. She does great articles on blues musicians. I've gotten an education from her in the last year about blues musicians. We show the schedule of all the shows in the state. All the live music in the state is published on our calendar every week, so you get to know where the live music is playing. Alan Knight, who couldn't be here today, is our webmaster. He does a great job. And then Wolf, I think many of you know Wolf now is on the Front Range. Wolf manages our CBS Facebook page. So Lynn Pierce and Jennifer Underwood manage the calendar and the schedule that gives you the notice of all the updates and where you can go find live music. So if you could please, it's a lot of work keeping the Colorado Blues Society alive, so if you could please thank the board, I would appreciate it. As you see from the schedule on your table, we have a youth act, which we're really excited about, and I just have to thank Paul and Jessica from Mojo's Academy. We all talk about keeping the blues alive, but those two literally are keeping the blues alive because they teach kids about the love and appreciation of the blues, and they teach kids to play blues music. So thank you to Paul and Jessica, and thank you to the Youth Act for being here today. We have 2 bands and 3 solo duos performing today. So following all the acts' performances, when all the scores are tallied, I will announce the 1 band that's going on to the finals and the 2 solo duos that are moving on to the finals. If you are announced as the act that is moving on to the finals, if you could please come up on the stage at that time, because we want to take your picture and put it on the Colorado Blues Society Facebook page. Mark your calendars for the next event. The second challenge is in Denver at Herman's Hideaway on Sunday, October 8th. If you haven't noticed this, we try and move the events around the state, right? So we got one up north, Denver, and we have one in Golden. So the finals are at the Buffalo Rose on October 22nd, and the send-off party is at the Buffalo Rose on November 19th, and we'd love to have you at all of those events. Okay, a couple more things. So before we start today, I want to thank, again, blues fans. There is no music, there's no live music without fans. So thank you for coming out today. As a member of the Blues Society, I know several of you became members today, and I appreciate that. As a member, your entrance fee is $15 instead of $20. If you're not a member, I invite you to become a member. It's not just that we're a member-driven organization, we're also a community. We take care of each other, we show up for each other. When Ron's bio said that he has fundraising events, we support our musician friends that are going through hard times, and we do fundraising events, and we help each other. It's a great community. Did you see the silent auction when you came in? Proceeds from those silent auction items are going to the bands to help defer costs to Memphis. So if you liked an item, please bid on it. Even if you only kind of liked an item, please bid on it. We just really want to raise additional funds to help defer costs for the bands. And Kenny Savers is a big blues fan here in Colorado. He details cars, he does a phenomenal job, and he donates those proceeds to Blues in the Schools. So if you want to have your car detailed, we would love for you to do that through Kenny and help us raise money for Blues in the Schools program. Your car will look like new when it comes out. It's amazing. Mark Gitlin, is this place amazing or what? So Mark Gitlin is the owner of Nissi's. So really want to thank Mark for hosting us. He hosted us last year and obviously hosting us again this year, and this is just a gorgeous venue. So thank you to Mark for hosting us. Thanks to all of Mark's staff for taking care of us today. Please generously tip your bartenders and waitresses. Please drink and eat, right? I mean, they give us this gorgeous venue for a whole Sunday, basically at no cost, except they get bar and food benefits, right? So please drink, please eat, please support Nissi's. If you were here early with your act and you didn't pay your fee to get in, we would love for you to do that. Go get your cute little purple wristband and see some of our board members there. The last thing that I have to say today before we get started, I forgot to thank our sound engineers, Wes and Rachel. Can't do it without sound engineers. Thank you, Wes and Rachel. The last thing I have to say today is probably the most important. Those of us who aren't musicians, can you imagine what it feels like to get up here and pour your heart out on this stage if the people that you're playing to aren't paying attention and don't act like they're enjoying it? So one of the things that I ask is if you want to chit-chat and visit, if you could please do that during a break, or if you could please go out in the hallway to do that, because I would really love for you to be able to hear a pin drop here when these acts are performing. All right. The Jam Junkies. What a cute name, huh? I don't know if y'all do this in your family, but in our family, we're like, that'd be a cool band name. So we always are thinking of cool band names. I think the Jam Junkies is a pretty cool band name. The Jam Junkies are a high school band based out of Longmont. They've been playing separately for 3 to 4 years each, but have only been jamming together for 2 months. They love playing blues and classic rock and hope to start writing originals. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our youth act for today, the Jam Junkies. Hi guys. We're gonna get set up. Give us like 1 minute, please.
mashup for you. We're gonna get some solos in here from a couple people. It's gonna be a fun time. So you'll probably know this song. I would invite you to sing along, but that's my job, sorry. But Henry, why don't you get us started again?
I
be jamming a little bit. We'll finally get a solo from Jasper, our drummer over here, so I'm getting excited for that. Woo! All right. I'll talk with y'all again. Don't worry. This isn't goodbye. Watch the sunrise. give a hand to our amazing guitarist, Henry, over here. And next, who you just heard a lot from, and who is so talented, our one and only Jasper. And then, almost last, but certainly not least, our bass Arden. And then, I'm Maya Larry, and I'm vocals. And we're the Jam Junkies. Thank you for hearing us.
How about those Jam Junkies, huh? How fun is that, right? To see youth coming up and starting to play music. Maybe y'all had some flashbacks of your youth. Pretty cool. All right, next act is up, and I just want you to notice we are ahead of schedule, which never happens at a blues event. So this is awesome. All right, Dennis Carter. Dennis grew up in Loveland, Colorado. His life path has been a series of steep mountains, downhill grades, and dangerous curves. Two consistent things in his life have been music and education. The combination of all the above factors created the inspiration for what Dennis will share with you today. All right, it's quiet time, folks. Next act is up. Please enjoy and maybe learn something. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dennis Carter.
Well, thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking the Colorado Blues Society for giving all of us this opportunity to share our music with you. Now, when I was preparing my set, I was trying to think to myself, what could I do that might set me apart a little bit? Because I can guarantee when you hear the rest of these acts, and even the band before us, you're going to know right away I'm not the best singer in this room. It's pretty obvious I'm not going to be the best guitar player. I like to think I write fairly decent songs. In fact, my set is all going to be songs that I've written. But there's a lot of great songwriters here as well. The one thing I've done consistently in my life that I've always felt good about and seen positive results is teaching. Now, if you look on the website for the Colorado Blues Society as well as the Blues Foundation, you'll find that there's two main goals, and that's to foster the promotion of performing and education of the blues. So with that, welcome to Blues 101. Blues is a condition. It's fostered and fed by a lot of different emotions, sometimes more than one at once. But you know, there's one thing you gotta have the blues, and that's humans. Now humans, they're a strange species. Some of us are just mean, stingy. They're the ones that cause blues for the other people. But the vast amount of people are just really amazing people. I mean, you can take a group of people, move them thousands of miles from the only home they've ever known, drop them in a country that they're not familiar with the climate. You force them to work, you beat them, you yell at them in a language they don't understand. But they're going to look for something happy. Now that happiness, it might come from music that they brought with them. Music that's tempered with all the different emotions and feelings. And then on Sundays, they hear this new music. It's a music of hope. And while you wrap all that up, and you got the blues. Now what I'm playing here is known as a 12-bar blues. It's kind of the foundation for a lot of blues songs. It was first documented by a gentleman named W.C. Handy back in 1912. But you know, it's made of 3 chords. Sometimes what you gotta express can't be done with just 3 chords. You might be feeling something happened in your life caused you some confusion. So maybe you just alter one of those chords a little bit. Throw in an extra chord, and then you can wonder, what the hell am I supposed to do? I wake up every morning, sometime before the sun begins to shine. I wake up every morning, think about the life that once was mine. She won't tell me what I did. What the hell am I supposed to do? Well, life is full of questions. Some have answers, some do not. Life's full of questions. There's only one question that I've got. But I can't find the answer. What the hell am I supposed to do? How can I turn and run away? My heart wants me to stay. Well, it's as different as day and night. When love becomes a fight, still I can't find the answer. What the hell am I supposed to do? Once we had a burning love, oh man, that flame was burning strong. We had a burning love, I guess it faded when I was gone. I'm back to stay. What the hell am I supposed to do? Well, thank you. Now, arguably, one of the most common emotions that makes people feel the blues is sadness. When you listen to this, it doesn't sound too sad, does it? Well, we work with what's known as a major-minor system of tonality. What that means is this is a major chord. And to make it a minor chord, you take the third of that chord and you lower it a half step. And it changes it from sounding like this to sounding like this. A little bit of difference. Now, one of the saddest things is when you lose someone, when they die before their time. You don't know why, and you're left to wonder. Well, that's what this song's about. Why, you can live your life keeping trouble away. You can read your holy book, say your prayers every day. Don't forget to have some fun, 'cause when it's all said and done, you're gonna die anyway. When you lose someone you love, sometimes it's hard to see the sun. You may blame yourself, blame your God. You may blame everyone. Oh, but death don't follow rules. We never know who will choose to be the next one. But people lie and suffer 'cause they don't know how to die. Oh, and death doesn't take them. He knows I've often cried. Seems death has its own free will, and who and when it kills, death is always a surprise. So live your life with no regrets. Never know when you might die. When death comes to get you, there's no place you can't hide. It means your time has come, walk into the sun, and it does no good to cry. Now people often try to count the stars in the sky, until they realize that they cannot count that high, 'cause there's a star for all who died, and like a billion blinking eyes, they look down from the sky, those they left behind. So say your last goodbye, 'cause no matter how you try, you'll never find out why that person had to die. Well, thank you. Now, along with the rise in popularity of the blues came the rise of popularity of guitar players. And one thing that guitar players have in common is they want to play louder. Yes, sir. Aha. Now, those first two songs were played on an acoustic guitar. Now, granted, nowadays we have acoustic amplifiers to run them through, but back in the day they didn't. You know, you got a guitar player singing, hey, that's cool. You throw in a bass, maybe some rhythm, you know, the guitars get a little harder to sound. Well, 1926 National Guitar Company invented the resonator guitar. It's got a cone in the center that resonates the sound straight out. Makes it a little bit louder. Also gives a different sound. And you know, if you've got a song that you're thinking about, sometimes there's something happened that you just gotta talk about. And you need a certain sound. And this sound allows you to tell you all a story about the love of a man. A girl who loved him back as much as anybody can. Swam the world's oceans, climbed the mountain tops, till a string of broken thoughts brought it all to a stop. He's living with his memories, she's living with her fears. The only thing they have in common now is crying lots of tears. Things sometimes happen, cannot control. When you don't understand them, they can really take their toll. Every word that's spoken becomes sink or swim. When you don't know what you're fighting, man, it's really hard to win. Looking everywhere, 'cause love's gotta still be there. After all, you took a vow to stay through thick and thin. Battlefield is empty, you're left licking your wounds. When there never was an enemy, it hurts more when you lose. Battle left you wounded like you've never been before. Can't help but wonder why there even was a war. They say that love is blind, but something's messing with our minds. I don't think I could ever love like that again. Well, that little bit of added volume helped guitarists out a lot, but it still wasn't enough. Now, don't get me wrong, the resonator guitar is still around because of the unique sound it has. But in 1932, two gentlemen, George Beauchamp and Adolf Rickenbacker, invented the electric guitar. Along with the invention of the electric guitar came a volume knob that goes to 10, and guitarists were happy. Now, the first amps, much as the amps of today, they were run by tubes. Now, the tubes, they give you this nice warm sound. And if you're kind of looking back over your life, there may have been times in your life that you were kind of blue, but you figured out how to get over it. So you kind of reminisce in the blues. This is a nice sound for reminiscing. That's what this song is. Well, I lived my life completely in so many ways. Done most everything that a man could do in love and work and play. There were times when folks were worried that I maybe lost my way, 'cause when my life went south, those blues dang near took me away. Now I'm living on the better side of north. That's where I wanna stay for what it's worth. I'm standing here today, 'cause I found a way, brought me back again to the better side of north. Well, I faced the grim reaper and I looked him in the eyes. Then I did my job and I cheated him out of his earthly prize. I survived the love that poisoned me, And much to my surprise, I've grown to be a man who's almost old and wise. And now I'm living on the better side of north. Got tired of bouncing back and forth. I'm standing here today, 'cause I found a way, brought me back again to the better side of north. Well, I've beaten down the devil and I pissed off the preacher man. I fought a lifelong battle with an army that's undermanned. Anytime I'm told I can't, I just gotta show that I can. Some folks still think I'm lost, they just don't understand. Now I'm living on the better side of north. That's where I'm gonna stay for what it's worth. I'm standing here today, 'cause I found a way, brought me back again to the better side of north. Well, thanks. So there's some times in your life something happens that gives you an emotion that nothing I've done up here yet could possibly express. We'll get back to that in a little bit. I'm going to give you a little story of how that sound came about. 1951, there was a young guitar player named Willie Kazart. Played for Ike Turner and the Rhythm Kings. Well, he was on his way to this place, Sun Studios, to do some recording. He was pretty excited. If you are not familiar with Sun Studios, I highly recommend Googling it. It's worth it. So anyway, he's pretty excited about it. He's driving into Memphis. He gets a flat tire on his car. Pulls over. Well, he's got to empty his trunk to get to the spare. So takes his guitar amp, sets it on top of his car. Somehow, while he's changing his tire, that amplifier changes position from up on top to straight down on the ground. And Willie's just like, oh man, what am I gonna do? Well, he doesn't even look at the amp, just puts it in the trunk, heads on to Memphis. He gets in there, takes in the amp and the guitar, and looks in the back and he notices the paper cone of the speaker is broken. Well, Sam Phillips was a genius in more ways than one. He looks at Willie and says, I got an idea. So Sam takes the newspaper, wads up the newspaper, shoves it in the back of that speaker, trying to push those pieces of paper together. And Willie plugs the amp in, plugs his guitar in, turns the amp on, strums his guitar. Sam and Willie look at each other and say, cool. Well, you know, if you've written a song that's driven by anger, isn't that kind of a good sound for anger? But a lot of times when you're feeling anger, you're feeling another emotion too that we've already talked about. And that's that emotion of sadness. So once again, we're going to change the feel by changing one note of that chord. Go from this to this. Now, one of the things in life that can really cause a lot of anger and sadness is a certain disease. That disease is dementia. It could take a person, steal their smile. It could steal that very person. It affects not just that person, but everybody that person knows. So the name of this song is Lost But Not Gone. This is dedicated to everybody out there who's had their life touched in any way by dementia. Well, I'm lost. I know exactly where I am. Where am I going? Seems like I don't give a damn. Locked against a wall I'm told does not exist. Ducking life's punches from an ironclad fist. coming in the middle of the night. So you better get ready. Gonna be a long, hard fight. He ain't coming for your silver and gold. He'll steal your smile, leave you out in the cold. With all that's going on, my heart is full of pain. Seems like the life we once knew just took a southbound train. I'll help fight any demons that may try to attack. Though your smile may be stolen, we can try and get it back. Well, thank you. Now, there's probably a lot of you out there thinking, you know, this sound of distortion, you know, it's a very popular sound. You hear it a lot nowadays in pretty much every form of music there is. So, are these guitarists going around and intentionally punching the back of their speakers to make this sound? Well, you know, musicians as a whole are creative. Blues musicians, you know, step up. Blues guitarists, even a step above that. They real quick discovered that on amplifiers, most tube amplifiers have two controls. They have a volume control and a gain control. Now, typically, if you're playing a place, you've got the gain turned, you know, maybe a little bit up, then you adjust with the volume, and then you maybe adjust the gain depending on the size of the room and what. Well, they discovered that if you switch those around so that the gain is higher than the volume, especially if the gain's all the way up to, say, 10, you're going to overdrive the tubes. And overdriving the tubes, that's going to cause that same distortion sound that we have here. Now, they simplified that, because otherwise you might have to be running back there and turning the dials on the amplifier. I got this little box here that it's got a volume and a gain switch on it all by itself, so I just preset that before I get up here, and then when it's time for me to use it, I just stomp it. And now with our digital world, it's getting even a step farther. We've actually got digital distortion too. So, I hope you guys maybe learned something, maybe giving you something to think about, and especially Sun Studios, if you're not familiar with that, definitely check it out. The amplifier that I was talking about before is still on display to this day at Sun Studios. So, with that, thank you very much.
All right, one more round of applause for Dennis and that awesome education. Blue Recluse. Blue Recluse plays a wide range of blues, rhythm, and country blues from the 1940s to the present day. Powerful, sultry vocals in combination with a hard-grooving rhythm section and classic electric blues guitar and keys make this band a blues lover's dream. Put on your dancing shoes because Blue Recluse will rock your soul with its unique brand of rare and classic songs by the likes of Coco Taylor, Etta James, Big Mabel, Susan Tedeschi, Bonnie Raitt, and Janis Joplin, as well as original songs like Close My Windows, Run Me Ragged, and Making Mud Out of Clear Water. Blue Recluse has played a wide variety of events and festivals in the mountains and on the Front Range, including the Lake City Wine and Music Festival, Fib Arc Whitewater Festival, Crested Butte Arts Festival, Royal Gorge Whitewater Festival, Belvedere Blues Festival, Western State Music Series, Greeley Blues Jam, Vino Salida Foot Stomp, Salida's Brewers Rendezvous, El Chapultepec in Denver, Better Block Jefferson 10-year anniversary party in Denver, the Boulder Outlook, Gold Rush Days in Buena Vista, as well as private parties, weddings, and corporate functions. Chantel Royal began her music career in Austin, Texas as the lead singer of the R&B blues band Recluse, featuring Chantel Royal. Michael Twardowski has been playing blues and rock guitar around Colorado for the last 30 years. Christopher Hudson has been playing both acoustic and electric bass in the mountains and on the Front Range since the 1980s. Ernie Mose is a rock-solid drummer who can sing like an angel. Little Ernie Hatfield has played keyboards for a variety of bands touring the West Coast and Canada extensively in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Blue Recluse.
Well, call me reggae, baby. standing here, I sit. I'm breathing espresso with your mind here, yeah. I'm working, I'm sleeping there. I'm seeing stars and I'm seeing clear. Black coffee, full cup. Black coffee, full cup. I've been waiting for you to show up. I've been sitting here at this diner. I'm about to give up. I hear music from the dance hall coming down the lane. I want more love and sugar and another cup of pain.
Thank you so much. Those are two songs off of our brand new self-produced CD, Rarely Fatal. We're Blue Recluse. We're going to do another original song for you. This was called Bring Back My Light. We'll hold your working like a John Conqueror, like the devil. great Coco Taylor. This one's called Bad Rooster. person. Bernie Mose, I'm Chantel Royal. Thank you so much. We're Blue Recluse.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how about one more time for Blue Recluse? How have we never seen them before? That was awesome. All right, next up, ladies and gentlemen, New Kind of Fire. Chandra Fry has been singing the blues in the Colorado area for the last 4 years. Growing up in Austin with the influences of Stevie Ray Vaughan, Muddy Waters, Luann Barton, and more. Mark Gabert picked up his first guitar at 7 and has been playing ever since. A skilled guitarist in most genres. From Kansas City, he now lives in Colorado and performs across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to New Kind of Fire.
I'm off the hook, I'm on the loose. Feeling like a long neck goose. Look at that baby. Feeling like I'm bulletproof. Crank it up, get into town. I know the best of the blues out for miles around. Now that's true. Feeling like I'm bulletproof. I wanna be down in the crowd. I want the music on way too loud. Juke, jump, jive, and rock some blues all through the night. Don't try to stop me, get in the use. Tell me what I'm gonna do, can't you see? Feeling like I'm bulletproof. Oh! Yeah. Jump, jazz, blues, I'll do the night. You can't stop, no, you can't quit. I'm like a sticky dynamite, I'm a fuse is lit, can't you see? Feeling like I'm bulletproof. Can't you see? Feeling like I'm bulletproof. Can't you see? And now we're doing a song by Quantum Soul Orchestra that we twisted just for us. Pushing
I won't be feeling blue. I'll be pushing on, pushing on. On guitar. I'm Shonda Fry, Shonda like Honda for those that don't know me. Okay, so we wrote one. And it's dear and close to my heart. But for those of you who know me, once I lay down the first word, you will totally understand. So good to me. And by my family tree, constant mystery. It's all I need, baby. It's all it takes. Good whiskey. So good to me. Whiskey is a gamble. I got nothing left to lose. Oh man, now got the money on you, yeah. I try rum, I try gin. Nothing tastes as good going in. Pour me one, two or three. some old right now from Big Mama Thornton. Texas gal from Austin. That's where my influences came. So, little Lou Ann Martin. Now, this song speaks a lot of truth to me because you can have any one of my 4 husbands, I give them all to you. And then I said we're going to do some new blues by little Samantha Fish. And I say little because she's like this big in heels.
But she can go. She's from Kansas City, my hometown.
We love you anyway.
You better be lonely when I
who have been with us all afternoon. We appreciate your staying power, or you're just blues fans that love blues music like I am. So right on. Thanks for being here. Okay, first, one more round of applause for New Kind of Fire. Woo! They were on fire. Okay, next. Cold Shot is a Colorado-based Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble tribute band and more. By request, they expanded to play other artists' music and some originals. They perform with no tricks up their sleeves, just searing glissandos on the guitar, performing with the intensity of rock and the deep feeling of the blues. Danny J follows Stevie's advice by tuning low, playing hard, and flooring it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Cold Shot.
very much. So we're from the Castle Rock and Highlands Ranch area, and that opening song was Scuttle Button by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. That last song, Look at Little Sister, you probably know by Stevie Ray Vaughan, but it's really an old Hank Ballard song. Stevie liked to play the classics, he loved those guys. We're going to do two originals though, and this first one, kind of dedicated to my sister. She passed away in 2019, and she was a school teacher. I was watching a video recently, a couple months ago, and she made up a school spelling bee for class. She made up all the words. Long story, I don't have time to get into it, but this first song called Frampus, and she had her kids spell Frampus, along with other words like ch-ch-ch-ch. So I was trying to come up with something that sounded funky like Frampus. I have no idea where the words came from. They just kind of popped in, so it has nothing to do with my sister or anything. So, but this is Frampus. She asked me, "What are you doing here?" Said, "I really don't wanna see you." I said, "I don't know, but here I am. You're really looking good. You're looking fine." And then she said, "Come on over here." Maybe we can sit and talk a while. Then she opened up her mind. She told me, "I don't like it when you coming home late all hours of the night." I said, "I know that I'm really bad, but I just like hanging with the guys." She said, "It's really gotta stop. You know you're driving me crazy all the time." And I said, "Baby, why don't you come over here, put your arms around me, it'll be alright." Then we moved closer, her lips next to mine. And then I told her, "You are always on my mind." She said, "You are crazy, boy, and I don't know why I always let you down." And I said, "You're the only one I love, and you know I'll always have your back." Then we moved closer, her body next to mine. And then I told her, "I will love you till the end of time." Hey, that was the first time out of the band cave. In fact, that's the first time my wife has heard that. And that was brand new. So thank you very much for that. Thank you, Nissi. Thank you, Colorado Blues Society, for having us. We've had a great time so far, and hope you have too. So, this is another original. Too bad for heaven, too good for hell. Sometimes the day just gets down, sometimes it don't. Some people gotta get in my way, and other times they don't. Feel like I've been run down. The black cat just crossed my path. I'm too bad for heaven, and I'm too good for hell. My girl just up and left, and she took my only dog. Jeep broke on the side of the road, down the foggy bottom log. Feel like I've been pushed around. The photo hand just slapped my face. Too bad for heaven, and I'm too good for hell. All right, this next song we're going to do, it's an old song by Hop Wilson. And you might know it from Albert Collins and Jeff There's a record, I think 1985, something like that. So, this is a song called Black Cat Bone.
I believe
27th, so yesterday, 33 years ago, Stevie Ray Vaughan stepped out onto the stage at Alpine Valley, Wisconsin, with what would be his last gig ever. And shortly after midnight, August 27th, today, 33 years ago, he played his final encore along with his brother Jimmy, Robert Cray, Buddy Guy, Eric Clapton in Alpine Valley. And after that Sweet Home Chicago song they played, he stepped onto a helicopter, and left this earth. And I tell you, the rock world was crying, the blues world was crying, and this Elmore James song. The sky is crying. Can you see the tears roll down the street? The sky is crying. Can you see the tears roll down the street? I've been listening for you, Stevie, and I'm wondering why you had to leave. I saw my baby early one morning, and she was walking on down the street. I saw my baby early one morning, and she was walking on down the street. You know, it hurt me so bad, made my poor heart skip a beat. I got a real bad feeling, and my baby, she don't love me no more. I got a real bad feeling, and my baby, she don't love me no more. You know the sky been crying again. Can you see the tears roll down my nose? Thank you very much for the whole shot. Thank you, Nissi. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for the class.
All right, so one more round of applause for Cold Shot. I think they're a hell of a lot more than a tribute band. I think they are a good band. All right, last but not least, Michelle Castillo. Michelle is a guitarist. Michelle is a guitarist, vocalist, and singer-songwriter from Denver, Colorado. She grew up listening to the classic rock bands of the 60s and 70s, as well as the Latin rhythms from her home environment. She was turned on to the blues in her early 20s after hearing Bonnie Raitt's debut album from 1971. Like peeling back the layers of an onion, Michelle started listening to the music of those who influenced Bonnie. The great Freddie McDowell, Sippy Wallace, Robert Johnson, Mississippi John Hurt, Elmore James, and Muddy Waters. The blues spoke to Michelle's soul. She picked up a guitar and taught herself how to play from a Hal Leonard book. She has since continued a dedicated practice of studying the blues and can be found performing as a solo artist and with her band at venues throughout Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michelle Castillo.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start off with an original song. ago about the Rio Grande River, that beautiful river that separates Mexico and the United States. My family, my heritage is from Mexico, and I'm born in the United States, so I have a connection to both countries. And that was a tribute to my family and my heritage. Thank you. This next song is another original. I've been playing it around town, and it's called Wild Card. Thank you very much. Next I'm going to play a George Gershwin song called Summertime. Is anyone else out there sweating? It's me, it's the lights. So I've taken a handful of blues lessons over the years. I've been playing for, let's just say, since I was in my 20s. I've been playing guitar, and one of my instructors introduced me to Howlin' Wolf, and he had me buy that album with the rocking chair on it, and he said, "Just study this. This is your homework for the next couple of weeks." And his name's Neil Haverstick. I don't know if any of you know him. He's a local guy from Swallow Hill. Yeah, he's quite a player. And I took like 2 months of lessons from him, and I had so much, he just taught me so much. I was like, I need to take a break and just absorb some of this. So one of the things he had me do in my lesson, he said I could play a couple of those Howlin' Wolf songs and only play 3 notes. And, you know, just see how creative I could get with those 3 notes. So, you know. So that kind of thing. So for a couple of weeks, I was just restricted to 3 notes, and it was mind-blowing, really. So this is a Howlin' Wolf song, and I played a few more than 3 notes. More like 5. Shining just like gold. Can't you hear me cry? Where'd you sleep last night? Can't you hear me cry? Blues Society, all of y'all out there, and Nissi's for hosting this event here. Like my bio mentioned, I was influenced by the blues like in my early 20s by Bonnie Raitt, music of Bonnie Raitt. And I don't know if you've heard her older albums, but they're just amazing. Everything she does is amazing, but, and then I started studying who her influences were and listening to their music, and, but over time I still go back to those first albums with Bonnie Raitt. And she's a huge hero of mine. And a couple months ago, I had lunch with an old friend, someone actually I hadn't seen since high school, just a few years ago. And he mentioned that he saw a custom Strat, a custom Bonnie Raitt Strat signature model at a local shop. And I had no idea such a thing existed. So I went and checked it out. One led to another. I have more United points, let's just say that. And she had signed the pickguard, and so I had it removed and put this on so I don't muck it up. But she was the first woman to have a signature Strat built for her by Fender. So I thought I'd end the evening. Oh, I have 5 minutes. Sorry. Playing a Bonnie Raitt song. Yeah. And but if any of y'all want to check this out, and I was talking to Mike Cervantes earlier. I told him I had a special surprise to show him. Anyway. I'll have it in the back. Okay, so this is a Bonnie Raitt song, and it's one of her older ones. It was written by Randy Newman and made popular to me through Bonnie Raitt. The song is called Guilty. Yes, baby, I've been drinking. Shouldn't come by, no. But I found myself in trouble, dark, and I had no place else to go. Got some whiskey from a barman, got some cocaine from a friend, and I had to keep on moving till I was back in your arms again. Yes, I'm guilty. Yes, I'm guilty, and I'll be guilty for the rest of my life. How come I never do what I'm supposed to do? Nothing I ever do turns out right. You know how it is with me, baby. No, I just can't stand myself. It takes a whole lot of medicine
provide, yeah.
Thank you very much. What a pleasure.
Wow, what a day of music. One more time, Michelle Castillo. Those of you who bid on silent auction items, first of all, thank you. Second of all, go pick them up. Silent auction is over, and we'd love for you to pick up your silent auction items. And while we're waiting for final scores to be tallied, I just have a couple of announcements. First of all, many of you know Billy Hoke. Billy Hoke runs the drum shop. Billy Hoke sets up our drum set for almost every CBS event we ever have. So Billy Hoke, thank you to Billy Hoke in the drum shop. And please, if you need drum gear, bring your business to Billy, because he's a great supporter of the Colorado Blues Society. Let me share some upcoming events with you. If you are a CBS member, these are the kind of opportunities that you have. CBS partners with many venues to promote shows and give away tickets to our members. So CBS just gave away 5 sets of free tickets to the Tap and Wash show at the Boulder Theater this Thursday, August 31st. Blues on the Mesa, the 3rd annual Blues on the Mesa. If you haven't been, it's a really awesome kind of small, local, neighborhood type festival. And this year we have a lot of our locals there. Colorado Blues Society is the sponsoring Blues Society of that event this year. So Blues on the Mesa, Saturday, September 30th. Scott Hackler, Shaq, the Austin Young Band, our very own Deborah Stafford and the Night Stalkers. And the headliners are Too Slim and the Tail Draggers, and Damon Fowler with special guest Jason Ritchie. So if you haven't got your tickets, we'd love to see you there. It's a great festival, and we'll have our full merch booth there with all of our t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats and all that good stuff. We have 1 set of tickets for Johnny Rawls' show at Dazzle, Sunday, October 1st. So we're taking members that are interested, and we'll pull from a hat. We have 1 set of reserved bronze tickets to the Blue Star event on Saturday, October 14th, which is featuring Kara Granger. And those of you who don't know about Blue Star Connection gives instruments to terminally ill children. Colorado Blues Society is a big sponsor and supporter of Blue Star Foundation. And so if you have an opportunity, go check out their website and attend that event at the Buffalo Rose on Saturday, October 14th. So we'd love to see you all at the upcoming IBC events. So the second challenge is at Herman's Hideaway, that's Sunday, October 8th. The finals are at the Buffalo Rose on Sunday, October 22nd. And then we have a send-off party, which all the acts that are going to Memphis will play their set for Memphis, and we'll come and support them and applaud them and just send them off to Memphis. And that'll be Sunday, November 19th. So once again, I want to thank Nissi's for hosting us, our sound engineers, Wes and Rachel. And those of you that don't know, Nissi's has Blues Night on Wednesday nights, so hopefully you come out and support your local blues musicians. Thank you to all the acts for registering and sharing your talent with us. It was an amazing day of music, and all of you are worthy of this stage. And so just thank you so much to all the acts that performed today. Thank you to our judges, our esteemed row of judges here, Kyle Borthwick, Ron Rosso, Bob Tiger, and Jill Kush. Thank you so much for spending your day with us. Thank you to the Colorado Blues Society, our board of directors, all of our hard workers. As many of you know, it takes a lot to keep a nonprofit like this going, and there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. So I'm very thrilled to lead such an active, high-quality blues society and board of directors. So please, another round of applause for our board of directors. So all of the acts today, when all of the feedback and scores and everything come in, I will email that to all of you this week so you can see your scores and you can see your feedback. And I want to share with you a couple of things that just warms my heart when I hear things like this. So I won't name names, but one of the acts said today, and this is truly what it's all about. One of the acts said today, I just want people to have an opportunity to see who I am and hear my music. And that's it, right? That's it. That's what it's all about. We get an opportunity to see a new act potentially that we've never seen before, hear some different style or a different type of music. And so it's not so much about the competition, it's about the visibility, and it's about gaining new fans, and it's about meeting new blues artists. And I probably met 15 new people today, and I'm really connected in the blues community. So to meet 15 new people is pretty cool. And hopefully you've all met some new people today too. So it's just a great opportunity to connect and just further expand our community, because this isn't just people who like blues music. This is an awesome community of people who love and support each other. So thank you again, everybody who came out today. The other comment that one of the acts made that I thought was really cool is, I just want to get some feedback about how I can be a better band. That's pretty cool, right? These judges all have a plethora of experience, and they shared that with you today. They're going to give you feedback on what they thought you did really well and what they thought you could improve. That's pretty awesome. Mark and Joe are just finishing up back there, the scores, and just a reminder, pick up your silent auction items. If you want some CBS merch, we'd love to sell you some merch before we tear down the merch table. And if you are one of the acts that will be going on to the finals on October 22nd, please come up here when I introduce your name so we can take a picture of you and put you on our CBS Facebook page. Looks like Joe's on his way up now.
Called House Rockin' Style.
Yeah, we ought to send a drummer up here to give us a drum roll, huh? All right, so these are the acts that we will see at the Buffalo Rose on Sunday, October 22nd. And these are the acts that will be competing to the road to Memphis to represent the Colorado Blues Society in Memphis in January of 2024. Blue Recluse is the band. Congratulations. New Kind of Fire. And Michelle Castillo. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out. And if the acts that are moving on could come on up here, that would be great.